Senator Joe Manchin shaking up politics across branches in Washington this week, as new reports say Joe Biden tried and failed to persuade Manchin to keep his name on the Senate ballot next year, rather than the presidential ticket that you heard him just tease. Fox and Friends co-host and host of One Nation, Brian Kilmeade, joins us now. Brian, you've been tracking Joe Manchin. Guy's been in the middle of everything for a long time. What does it say to you first that the White House tried and failed, and then he's doing this speaking tour?
Pretty interesting that Chuck Schumer was begging him almost every day to run. And they vilified him, remember, when he stood in the way of packing the court, stood in the way of adding 2 states, stood in the way of that incredibly ridiculous, unbelievably big spending plan. They end up shocking everybody to the dismay of the country long term by signing off on the Inflation Reduction Act and then saying, I was lied to. So he was isolated on an island, and then suddenly they need him, and he said, no, let me think about it, and now he says no. Number one, Joe Manchin hasn't lost an election. He was about to lose to Jim Justice.
Yeah.
Jim Justice is worshipped as a very popular governor there. He's done a lot of great things. He's financing his own campaign if he chose to. He's a self-made multimillionaire. If he's going to go on a listening tour. But keep in mind, Pete, he's 76.
Yeah.
For those people who say, well, he's a younger version, he looks younger, but he's really not. 76 and President Trump is 77. Number two, if he does run, let's just say he does run, how is he going to run? Is he going to say, I'm such a better Democrat than President Biden, who clearly lost his fastball and his sinker and his slider and his knuckleball? Or is he going to say, I'm a better alternative to both? I'm going to run up the middle, at which time he's got RFK, he's got extreme left, Cornel West, and if he might say, listen, I'm a moderate conservative and try to take votes from Trump. I don't really think that I don't think he dislikes Joe Biden. I do think he thinks he's a much better choice. On the negative side, nobody really thinks Joe Manchin is their guy. The moderates feel let down. The Republicans feel let down. They don't really they don't even remember the fact that he stopped spending programs. And on the left, they say, you ruined everything. We could have been the squad party if it wasn't for you, Joe Manchin. And he always brawled with AOC.
You're right. He is a man without a political home, going on a no labels has ballot access in multiple states. Just a real quick answer. Do you think that's where he would go if he did run?
Yes, I do. Evidently, he gets along with those guys really great. He needs somebody who's going to get him on every single ballot right away. They need credibility. Everybody knows Joe Manchin. They can't put somebody out there who's rich and has to introduce himself. Joe Manchin doesn't have to introduce himself to anyone. I think he fits the bill.
He certainly teased it. All right, Brian, you've got a great new book out. I love this one. It's called Teddy and Booker T. It's on sale right now. You can also catch Brian on tour. There's spots. The Villages tonight, Vero Beach, Florida tomorrow, Madison, Connecticut on Tuesday, all at briankilmeade.com. Brian, tell us about this book.
Well, number one, I got a show. We've been shooting it for 8 months, and it's on Fox Nation, and soon it'll be on the channel. But with the war going on, we can't really go to tape programming. But I wanted to see how 2 people move the country forward. We talk about Veterans Day. Teddy Roosevelt was Assistant Secretary of the Navy and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go into the Spanish War. I'm going to go enlist. I'm going to be a colonel. And then we know about his charge up San Juan Hill. And he was the Rough Rider, put together an all-star team that included the Buffalo Soldiers and had all this success. And then he was governor, became vice president and president. When he was vice president, he met a guy named Booker T. Washington, who was born a slave in the South, launched Tuskegee, started elevating the black community, graduating 1,500 at a time. Everybody would learn the books, they'd learn the classics, and they learn a skill. They learn the basics of life, for everything from hygiene to how to handle yourself to how to get a job. And he was transforming the South while winning the respect of not only people in America, but around the globe. And when I found out he went to the White House and the controversy around it, and it was referenced by John McCain in his concession speech, believe it or not, in America at that time, to have a black man have dinner at the White House with Teddy Roosevelt's family was not something many pockets of the country were ready for, but he pushed everyone forward. He made people rethink about the racial lines and the differerences. I was inspired by his book, found Teddy Roosevelt all over Booker T. Washington's books, and thought if I could combine the two, it would be a good message.
You've outdone yourself. It's a fantastic message. Teddy and Booker T. Find the book, watch it on Fox Nation, check Brian on tour. BrianKilmeade.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.